Hello everyone. Coriander or Dhaniya or cilantro in the West is something that we use every day in Indian cuisine. Either the seeds or green leaves spice up our food. This makes coriander a must grow for every kitchen garden. The reason it is an ideal candidate is it is very easy to grow, it grows very fast, and you can get the yield at a very early stage, and it keeps yielding. So let's see how to grow coriander from seeds. First of all, we have to understand which type of soil is suitable for growing coriander. You can use any type of soil like multi-purpose soil, potting mixture or coco peat. If you plan to grow the coriander on the ground, the suitable soil is loamy and clay soil. But if you decide to grow coriander on the pots, then you can use multi-purpose soil like potting mixture or coco peat. Coriander plants doesn't transplant well, so choose a container that's big enough to grow many plants. Hence, we can grow multiple rows of coriander. The next step is seed. It is a very important step. Coriander seed is technically a fruit containing two seeds in it. So, the round thing that you see has two seeds. Each of them will grow into a coriander plant. The fruit can be sown whole or split. So, when we split, it increases the germination rate. Now, the only question is how to go from whole coriander seed to a split one. The best way to do is spread the seed on the floor and keep the rolling pin on the seeds and gently move the rolling pin while pressuring on them. The process should be very gentle and it should not be very hard. Before sowing the seeds, one of the most important steps is to soak the seeds in water for 12 hours. It helps the seeds to germinate faster. The next step is sowing or how to sow. Coriander is directly sown. Make sure the pot gets good lighting and water. Keep the soil regularly moist but not soaked. Good drainage is essential. Take a pot with potting mix, fill all the way up to ½ inch from the top. Then make rows by drawing a line with your index finger or stick. Simply sow the split seeds in the row. Spacing of the seeds should be 20 by 15 cm. And once it is done, cover the seeds with coco peat. After sowing the seeds, irrigation is very important. First, irrigation should be given immediately after sowing, and the second on the third day, and subsequent irrigations at 7th and 10th days. Water them properly and wait. It is actually very fast germinating. Coriander seeds start germinating somewhere between 5th to 7 days. In post-germination steps, as soon as they start germinating, ensure they get good amount of sunlight. They will start growing vigorously. Water them thoroughly, especially when they are thickly sown. More leaves in container, more water they lose through transpiration, and hence you need to keep up with them. Roughly around week 4 from the date of planting, they will have lots of leaves and can be harvested. For non-commercial purposes, one can start harvesting much earlier. One of the most common problems in growing coriander is bolting. So, what is bolting? Bolting is the term applied to vegetable crops when they prematurely run to seeds, usually making them unusable. A cold spell or changes in a day length initiates this behavior. Coriander bolting is one of the most frustrating things about this popular herb. Many gardeners ask, why does coriander bolt? And how can I keep coriander from flowering? With attention to the environment you grow, you can help lengthen the amount of time before cilantro will bolt, and therefore increase the amount of time you can harvest leaves from your cilantro plants. Many gardeners wonder what to do when cilantro bolts. When they see the white cilantro flowers, they wonder if they can simply cut them off. Unfortunately, once cilantro bolts, the leaves rapidly lose their flavor. Cutting the cilantro flowers off won't bring the flavor back to the leaves. Instead, let it grow and use it as a seed. Now the question arises, why do cilantro bolt? The first thing to understand that there is no true way to keep cilantro from bolting. Plants are designed to do one thing, and that is to reproduce. You are fighting nature, but there are several things you can do to significantly lengthen the time before the cilantro plant produces flowers. The first one is, if you live in a climate that doesn't have moist, cool weather, you can buy slow-boiled cilantro. This is cilantro that has been bred on withstand higher temperature. The second solution is to harvest your cilantro leaves frequently. The more you harvest your cilantro, the more likely you are to nip immature flower stalks, which will delay cilantro flowering. Now, let's discuss the common pests and diseases of coriander. One of the most common diseases of coriander is bacterial leaf spot. The symptoms of this disease is you can see a very small water-soaked spots between leaf veins which enlarge and turn dark brown to black. Stems may have elongated dark streaks. The flowers will start yellowing and turn brown and blighted. There will be water-soaked lesions on fruit. This disease is transmitted through infected seeds and can be spread by splashing irrigation water and rain. Under management, bacterial leaf spot is very difficult to control. So, the best way to avoid this disease is to plant pathogen-free seed and to avoid overhead irrigation, that is, avoid watering on the leaves. Do not work with plants when they are wet. The second disease is damping off. It is a fungal disease. The symptoms of this disease are soft, rotting seeds which fail to germinate, rapid death of seedling prior to emergence of soil, collapse of seedlings after they have emerged from the soil caused by water-soaked reddish lesions gilding the stem at the soil line. Damping of disease favor conditions with slow seed germination. Fungi can be spread in water-contaminated soil or on equipment. How to manage this disease? Avoid planting in poorly draining, cool, wet soil. Planting in raised beds will help with soil drainage. Plant high-quality seed that germinates quickly. Treat the seeds with fungicides prior to planting to eliminate fungal pathogens. You can use fungicides such as Bevestin or Thiram. Now, let's discuss on pests. One of the most common pests in coriander is aphids. Aphids are small-bodied insects which accumulate underside of leaves or stems of plant. It is usually green or yellow in color. If aphid infestation is heavy, it may cause leaves to yellow or distorted, necrotic spots on leaves or stunned roots. Aphids secrete a sticky, sugary substance called honeydew, which encourages the growth of sooty mold on the plants. Here comes the management. If aphid population is limited to just few leaves or shoots, then the infestation can be pruned out to provide control. Check transplants of aphids before planting. Use tolerant varieties if available. Reflective mulches such as silver-colored plastic can deter aphids from feeding on plants. Sturdy plants can be sprayed with a strong jet of water to knock aphids from leaves. Insecticides are generally only required to treat aphids if the infestation is very high. Plants generally tolerate low and medium level infestation. Insecticidal soaps or oils such as Neem or Canola oil are usually the best method to control. Always check the labels of product for specific guidelines prior to use. The second most common insect is cutworms. The symptoms of these insects are stems of young transplants or seedlings may be severed at soil line. If infection occurs later, irregular holes are eaten into the surface of fruits. Larvae causing the damage are usually active at night and hide during the day in the soil, at the base of the plants or in plant debris of the toppled plant. Larvae are 2.5 to 5.0 cm in length. Larvae may exhibit a variety patterns and colorations but will usually curl up into a C shape when disturbed. Under management, remove all plant residue from soil after harvest or at least 2 weeks before planting. Cover plastic or foil collar fitted around the plant stems, the bottom 3 inches above the soil line, and extending a couple of inches into the soil can prevent larvae severing plants. Hand picking after the dark is very important. Appropriate insecticides should be applied to infested areas of garden or field if not growing organically. Here are some of the tips for growing coriander from seeds. The first tip is split seeds grow faster and healthier than the whole seed. The second tip is before growing the seed, soak the seeds for 12 hours. The third tip is spacing. There should be 20 cm by 15 cm spacing between the plants. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe.